there's one thing that the Toy Story movies know how to do, it is to surprise us. And of course, with the 6th movie, it will not be any different. But do you know all the incredible things that could happen in Woody, Buzz, and Jesse's next adventure? Blaze and Bonnie at school. Without a doubt, one of the coolest things that Toy Story 5 showed us was the birth of the friendship between Bonnie and Blaze. After all, the two girls have a lot of tastes in common, especially when it comes to playing. And at the end of the movie, during that moment when the credits are shown, we even saw that the fathers and mothers of the two girls also become friends, which is definitely really cool. Knowing this, it is easy to imagine that Blaze and Bonnie's parents will probably enroll both of them in the same school so that they can feel more comfortable. Of course, they would not be in the same grade, since Bonnie is 8 years old and Blaze, according to Atlas, is 9.5 years old. But even so, they would certainly meet up and eat together during recess. And it is really cool to imagine that at some point while they were at school, some of the toys, especially Jessie, Buzz, and Bullseye, would go over there, perhaps to help the girls against some students who are bullying the two of them. In fact, it might even be those 3 girls from the slumber party that Bonnie attended: Chelsea, Kara, and Heidi. So somehow, a good part of the movie would take place at the girls' school, with the toys helping them overcome the movie's new villains. A 3rd friend. But that would not be all. At school, it is highly likely that both Blaze and Bonnie avoid talking about their toys with the other kids, so they do not get treated like they are big babies, which is what the trio of mean girls called Bonnie in the chat. However, the two girls might not even realize it, but there could be another boy at school who also shares this hobby of playing with real toys, and not just with technological devices. And little by little, he, Blaze, and Bonnie would get closer and become a trio of friends who get together to play. Remembering that in the Christmas special short film Toy Story: The Time Forgot, Bonnie already had a boyfriend named Mason whom she used to go play with. And we also cannot forget that the toy's first owner, Andy, was a boy. So it would be cool for Disney to put at least one boy as a protagonist in the next movie, just to make things a little more balanced, since we have Blaze, Bonnie, and Jessie all female protagonists. Of course, we have Woody and Buzz too, but they are not anywhere near having the same level of protagonism as in the first 3 movies. For sure, seeing a trio of human protagonists, along with a trio of toy protagonists, would be something I would absolutely love to see in the next Toy Story. Get ready, because our list of incredible theories for Toy Story 6 is just getting started. Today, we are going to blow your mind. Sally Lightyear. We know that the Buzz action figures are constantly receiving new updates, as we can notice with the army of Lightyears that appear in Toy Story 5. Seriously, they can even truly fly, unlike the first Buzz. And with that, it is not very hard to imagine that it will be only a matter of time before a female version of Buzz is created, perhaps named Sally Lightyear, who would be introduced into the toy line as a cousin to our beloved Buzz, hence the same last name, but who has always been secretly in love with him. We can imagine that Bonnie's parents might give her this doll for her birthday. After all, the girl and her friend Blaze love playing pretend weddings, and Sally would be the ideal match for Buzz in their minds. Of course, we do not even need to mention that it would be a tremendous rivalry between Sally and Jessie for Buzz's heart. After all, he might think that him and Sally being a couple would be an order from Star Command. But without a doubt, I would bet all my chips on Jessie. After all, they have been together for a very, very long time, and Sally would just be a rookie in Bonnie's bedroom. Andy returns. But what if, besides introducing a few new characters, the 6th Toy Story movie also brought about some returns? If that happens, without a doubt, the #1 candidate to return would be, and always will be, Andy. In case the next movie starts just a few months after the end of Toy Story 5, in this return, the former owner of the toys would already be an adult, about to graduate from college. If we consider that he left his toys with Bonnie when she was 4 years old, and now in Toy Story 5, she is already 8 years old. That is to say, 4 years have passed. Exactly the average amount of time it takes to finish college. This way, Andy could very well return to his home as a recent graduate, and about to move to a place even further away due to an unrefusable job offer. But he could not leave once and for all without first saying goodbye in person to his great toy friends. Upon not finding Woody, the toy's first owner might think that Bonnie did not properly care for his toys, and demands that she gives them all back. Then the biggest dilemma would fall upon the toys themselves. Should they stay with Bonnie and still have a few more years playing with her until she becomes a teenager, or at the latest also goes to the university? Or return to their old home where they would no longer be used in playtime, but would be very well kept and all together once again with the one who always loved them? Honestly, I would not want to be in their plastic skin to make that decision. If you're enjoying the video, subscribe to the channel now so you don't miss any new videos. Lost Lotso. However, we can say that it is not only off of good returns that Toy Story 6 would survive. And that is because the greatest villain of all in the franchise might be about to return, and you do not even have a clue. Like we mentioned, the 6th movie could begin exactly where the 5th movie left off. This way, the beginning of the story this time around could be exactly with Woody and Bo Peep, along with Duke Kaboom, returning to their headquarters for rescuing lost toys. Upon arriving there, Woody could have the surprise that a new toy is now with the group. A Lotso bear, exhaling that incredible strawberry smell. And that would make total sense, seeing as he could have been rescued from the garbage truck where he got stuck at the end of the 3rd movie, during this period when Woody went to help Buzz and Jessie. Besides that, Bo Peep does not know Lotso, since in Toy Story 3, she was already no longer part of the toy group. In this manner, the villain would manage to extract information about Woody's new life, and would hatch a plan to defeat our sheriff, without anyone knowing. And of course, he would also love to take out Jessie, Buzz, and all of the other toys. However, right off the bat, he would certainly pretend to be remorseful and would try to gain everyone's trust. After all, even Lily Pad redeemed herself in Toy Story 5. Why couldn't Lotso do it, right? The problem is that all of this would be nothing but pure pretending, just to return to Sunnyside and take his place back as the dictator of the toys. Sid will be the villain. But aside from Lotso, we could have another villain who might make everything even more dangerous for all the toys. If you go back in time to the first movie, released 30 years ago, you will remember that the enemy of the toys in that animation was a boy who was Andy's neighbor, and who was obsessed with destroying toys named Sid. When he was about to destroy Buzz, Woody broke the rule of never talking in the presence of humans, and he and the toys destroyed by the boy teamed up and gave Sid such a massive scare that he surely became very, but very traumatized indeed. However, he was a simple boy back then, and nobody believed him when he told everyone what happened. Now Sid, who was about 2 years older than Andy, is already an adult, and perhaps instead of being obsessed with destroying toys, his new goal is to prove to everyone in the world that he is not crazy, and that toys actually gain a life of their own when nobody is looking. Because of this, he is going to end up accidentally running into Woody again. And due to him being an extremely rare toy, he will be absolutely sure that it was the very same doll that traumatized him in his childhood, thus beginning a hunt for the toys, where he is going to try to manage to record footage and put it on the internet to prove his theory about living toys. It is certainly going to be pretty difficult to shake Sid off their trail, since he is a genuinely very complicated person. Toys are revealed. Still following this storyline, where the toys, specifically Bo Peep and Woody, are running away from Sid, at some point we can imagine that some security camera at some store or an ATM will finally detect the toys moving on their own. And that was exactly what Sid wanted the most. He manages to get access to the recordings and finally manages to put it on his YouTube channel to prove that he was not crazy. By doing this, would this be the end of all toys? After all, who in their right mind would want to have toys that possess a life of their own, inhabiting their bedroom, right? If you stop to think about it, that is rather terrifying. And of course, Sid's plan would have everything it takes to work out, but only if he were the only one to have access to these recordings. That is because Andy, who also already knows that toys have life, which was told to him by Woody himself after the two of them met, also gets the footage and posts it a few minutes beforehand on his own YouTube channel, claiming that he had created those scenes with artificial intelligence and wanted to show his work to people. Naturally, the entire internet would come down hard on Sid, claiming that in reality, besides being crazy, he was a plagiarist who uses the material created by other people without authorization. That way, the toys would save themselves one more time, except that for the first time with the help of a human. Andy! I can even picture Sid ending up in a mental asylum after being unmasked on the internet. You would almost feel bad for him, if he were not so evil. Island of Toys. Despite the toys managing to escape from Sid this time around, they are going to figure that he will never stop trying to get this footage. And one day, when he gets out of the asylum, he will come after them again. That is not to mention potential followers of Sid's channel, who might genuinely believe that he was telling the truth. For this reason, Andy suggests to Woody and company that they leave that place and go to a completely isolated location where they can live calmly and in peace, without fear of being hunted down again. It is exactly at this moment that one of the Buzz action figures from the army that appeared in Toy Story 5 mentions an island where he and his colleagues from Star Command woke up. That same one that appears at the beginning of the movie. There is a location completely isolated by the sea and distant from everything and everyone. He volunteers to take them there. So everyone says goodbye to Andy, and in some indirect way, they leave a goodbye message for Bonnie. They all end up washing up on the island, which ends up becoming a safe sanctuary for the toys that were abandoned, or that simply do not want to live in attics anymore. It would be something that we like to call the Island of Toys. That is how the second Toy Story trilogy would conclude, leaving the story tied up really neatly, but also open-ended, since anything can happen after that. We'll stop here, but you can still keep watching more incredible videos. Just click on either of these two appearing for you. Until next time.